What's up, YouTube? So if you've been following my channel, you guys know that I take all of these 3D printers and not only do I make content with them, but I also sell 3D prints. I'm able to take all of these 3D printers and make money off of them as a side hustle. And easily one of the biggest questions I get, like above all others, is can you really make money 3D printing? Well, I'm going to go over with you guys what I made in 3D printing this past year. Now, keep in mind a few things. One, I didn't start until August selling 3D prints at farmers markets and craft shows. I had been selling on Etsy since January of last year. The other thing to keep in mind is the numbers that I'm going to show you are going to be all the numbers, 100% transparency, also about how I acquired my money to get started in the first place. So let's go over to the computer, let's dive in, and let's see how you can make money 3D printing. Okay, so here we are on the Etsy landing page. Now, what's really cool is that this is where you're going to go to be able to go into your dashboard. And I'm going to show you guys everything. Like I said, I'm going to be 100% transparent because I did make money this year. I did make money 3D printing. It is something that I would consider profitable, but I don't want people to get the wrong impression or to feel like I'm trying to push something that's not real. I don't want to say, hey, follow me and you're going to make $1 billion. Like, no, like it's possible. I learned a lot. I want to show you what I learned, and then we can go from there because I think it's super, super important. So as you can see here, these are all of my like all time. I've had 73,000 views, 44,000 visits, 720 orders, and $22,000 in revenue, which is freaking awesome. All time. Again, this did start, I believe, in December of 2023 actually, but I didn't sell anything till like January, something like that. The landing page you get, but this doesn't really tell you everything, right? This is just the revenue. That's not what I actually brought home. So if we go over to detailed stats, okay, so we are in the detailed stats page and I'm under the revenue page. So you can see by each month, so it's actually November. So November 2023, I didn't make any money. That's when I started the shop. December, I made $219. And then, so we're going to start with 2024. This is where this starts. So January, $437.93, $138.86, $857.20, $810.54, $938.09, $1,826.07, $954.63. In August, we had $1,412.38. September, $1,094.05. October, $964.36. November was $2,857.86. And then December, this was so cool to see this in December. December, we made $9,207.68. And then so far in January, we have made $286. Obviously, this was a really good month in December, almost $10,000 in sales. Awesome. But how much did I actually make from that? So how much did we actually make? Because we can easily say that in the year of 2024, oops, I formatted that incorrectly. I made $21,499.65. I can tell you, I did not bring that home. Not even close. So let's see what that looks like. So let's start here in January. I made gross sales of $375.35, but I only brought home negative $10.41. My marketing was way too high. My shipping was way too high. The fees, I can't get around the fees. So that's what happened there. So I ended with negative money. We go to February, also ended with negative money. I had sold $296.28, but I had spent $214 of that on advertisements alone, with $37 in fees, and then shippings were just was just obliterated. I was ready to quit already in February because I was like, this sucks. I haven't made any money. Then March comes around. Still didn't make any money. In fact, I made negative $101 again because we had all of these sales, but the marketing was killing me and the fees were killing me. I'm going to talk about the marketing because I keep marketing up. In fact, my marketing is the highest it's ever been, and it'll stay that way, and I'll tell you why. April, negative $40. May, negative $60. June, finally, we see a profit of $253.50. And if you've been doing math at home, I'm still negative for the year at this point, because this didn't make up for all the negative months that I just had. But I started to see money in June. And then July, I saw a little bit more money. Obviously, I'm figuring something out. Something's kicking in. I'm figuring things out. Let's see, August went back down. I thought I had figured it out. I had thought I figured out what the secret sauce was, and it just wasn't true. Until September. Then I made $415. And then I thought to myself, okay, this looks way better. Here's this, here's all of these. We're finally here. September, October comes around, made $273. I'm feeling good about everything. Go to November, I made $1,110.59. Now I'm finally at the point where I've realized I figured out what was wrong and what was missing, because then again we go into December of last year and I had made $3,752 off of the $9,646. Now I know what somebody's thinking and probably typing it already. Why are you excited about only making $3,000 off of $9,000? Well, I'll tell you why. I didn't have to do a whole lot for all of this. I understand that this is huge and this is huge. I understand that these numbers are atrocious, but here's the deal. I had a total sales of $10,000, right? What's great is Etsy pulls out the sales tax, which is super great. I love that. So we're good about that. And then I did have 2 refunds that I had to do. Etsy ads were $3,000. We had $1,800 in shipping, and then we had another $1,000 in fees. But again, I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to build this website. I didn't have to maintain the website. I just had to make my Etsy and make it go forward. So what was the big key to me figuring out Etsy? Well, it was my listings. I, up until June, only had, I think, maybe 12 listings. I now have 44. Etsy lives by this really weird rule, and it's an unspoken rule, and it's nothing you can really prove, but except the fact that I feel like I have, is that 80% of your revenue that you pull in from Etsy is going to be based off of 20% of your inventory. So out of all of these listings, according to that, only 8 of them should be responsible for bringing in revenue. And what I can tell you with my sales stats, let's see if I can find it. What I can tell you from my sales stats is it did really come from 3 different items. It was actually less than 20%. All of my revenue came from 3 primary items. And that's insane, right? I have 44 listings. 3 of them are the breadwinners, but people got there through my listings and through my stuff. People got there through my site, from everyone else's. For me, it happened to be these dice towers right here. So we can look at them. It was these Lord of the Rings inspired dice towers. I sell these for $56. Well, I sell them for $93, but they're almost always on sale for $56. I sell these. They're awesome. They have 2 different finishes. We do them in silver and gold. They're absolutely awesome. You can also order them in plain black. This is one of these great things. I have a lot of reviews for them. Now, this particular one, I won't lie to you guys, got taken down yesterday from the day I'm recording this, which is, I'm recording this on January 9th. It's my birthday, the day I'm recording this. This was taken down 24 hours ago, because I was using the word koozie spelled with a K. I didn't know that that was trademarked. So now they're just called can holders. And I made sure I even went in the description and called them a can holder. But anyways, these are can holders now. They're not can koozies. But yeah, what they do is they hold your can. They're also dice towers. These are my #1 sellers. I sold 200 of these, or let's see, I don't have to make that up. Let's see how many I sold. Well, oh, here we go. So I had sold 130 of these in just December. So these became a bestseller instantly. I've had these on my shop for over 6 months, and I've only sold 169 of them, which is great. But just to give you kind of an idea of, you don't know what's going to be a hit when it's a hit, this is a perfect example of that. These had made almost as much as these had, and definitely almost as much as these had in a third of the time. So get listings up. If you can get listings up for 3D prints, make sure that you are getting them up at least 1 a week. Get at least 1 new listing up a week. That's my biggest piece of advice, because when it comes to marketing, when it comes to Etsy ads, I personally go as high as I can go. So you can see I have 8 listings at $1,000 a day, because here's the deal. I don't spend $1,000 a day on Etsy ads. Etsy ads only charge you per click. So every time somebody clicks on your Etsy ad, then you get charged for it. But you can see here, if I go over to the finances, now I'm negative this month. It's fine. It's whatever. Yeah, I spent $2. I spent $2.25 yesterday on Etsy ads. I spent $15 on it the day before. The day before that, I spent $8. So it really just like it. You are not going to spend the $1,000 per day. You're just not. Unless you have that many items, then great. But you probably are going to still be fine, right? Now, it's been slow. It's January. I didn't expect it, but I also haven't added anything new to my Etsy store. And part of that's just I've been really busy and I haven't really been focused on it. But I need to get at least we're in the second week of January. If I can next week get 3 to 4 new listings up, that's going to be my goal for next week for Etsy in order to keep this moving. So that's the Etsy side of 3D printing, but let's talk about farmers markets and craft fairs, the part that I think a lot of people are maybe more interested in. This is my spreadsheet where I keep my money. It's really crude. I don't care. Sorry if you don't like it. But this is going to have an expense side, and it's going to have the money side. Now, I do add my Etsy stuff in here, but as you can see over here, I actually know the totals with and without Etsy, just because it helps for taxes and stuff like that purposes. So these are all of the markets and craft shows we did in 2024. Again, we didn't start until July right here. We started in Christmas to July market. We brought in total without cash. I just like to know the difference. We brought in last year, we brought in $34,833.72 from July until December. So we made $34,000, almost $35,000. But so after our expenses, which this is the rotating expenses that we have, we actually only made $2,834.79 last year. Now, keep in mind, I started this business. This does include startup costs. This includes the printers. This includes the materials. This includes the licensing through LegalZoom. This includes basically everything that we needed to do to start up this business. So the fact that my startup cost to be able to do markets and shows and everything I've needed materials and supplies wise, I still walked out with $2,835.79 last year in profit. I think is pretty fantastic. So if we look at the expense sheet, and I know it's cut off at the bottom here, you guys can't see past here, but that's okay, whatever, it's fine. I promise it's fine. We can see that I have everything. And now I just categorize it to where the receipts from. So we have Costco, Target, Walmart, Hobby Lobby. That's obviously getting, the Costco stuff is going to be stuff like the canopies and the tables and some other bulk stuff like bulk shipping things or whatever. A lot of stuff from Walmart because I paint everything with like the cosplay helmets and whatnot. We even got some stuff from IKEA. Amazon's obviously a big one. We are just going through a lot of stuff. We bought some stuff at the thrift store. A lot of stuff, but then here's a printer. There's a couple printers in here somewhere. Here's another printer, 2 more printers. They're everywhere, right? So this is everything. We even have the phone bill because we use a Wi-Fi hotspot for our Square POS system, which I know the Square is in here somewhere. This, interesting. So expenses, money in and out, pulled over from the sheet. So this is because I had another sheet that I was using before. I didn't like it, so I pulled it all over here. So here's that. I bought the MacBook that I'm using right now for the business. Here's the expense. Every little thing I have on here is counted here as an expense, including the DJI camera that I just recently bought. And actually, I should take this off because I just bought another one. So I'm going to take this off. So because I bought one for this year for cheaper, I returned that one. So this is the mileage section. So obviously we have the mileage. Here's the gas price. This is my formula up here. This is for the average cost of gas throughout the year. So that's how we get all these numbers. And then this is the total number that we've spent on gas for the business. All of that is this rotating expense amount. So again, for me, and again, I have Etsy in here as well. Here's some Etsy numbers right here. After everything, Etsy included and farmers markets, all my startup costs to buy all 20 of these printers that I have here. Well, not all of them, but most of them. We made $3,500 this year. And then we had to pay taxes. I even have a sheet over here for taxes. Now, again, my 2025 sheet looking already a lot cleaner. especially the expense data. We have it all rotating here, so now I know how much we've spent. So already this year we've spent a little over $5,700 in expenses. Now, most of them are event fees. When my wife is wonderful, went ahead January 1st and applied to everything. We have a lot of this, have a lot of things booked out already. And we did one show so far. We made $1,600. So we are still in the hole, $4,000, but I don't plan on buying 10 more printers this year, which should be around $10,000. And then we're going to have some more markets and shows of that. But I expect our expenses to be around probably $15,000 to $20,000 this year in expenses. Obviously, some things that I won't be able to predict. But if we keep up on the pattern where we made $34,000 between July and December, that should be a pretty good predictor. And in fact, if we do something like ChatGPT for just because, if I made $38,000 from July to December, and we assume the trend is the same, what would I make in a full year? So according to math, the estimate is going to be $76,000 with, again, I don't think it's going to be over $25,000 of expenses, which means we're going to probably walk away with a profit of $25,000. I still work full time. My full-time job makes it so that I can do this and focus on this and let the business build a lot of its money. Whatever comes into the business goes back into the business, which is why that profit margin is so little for the last 9 or 7 months from last year. Honestly, look, I had 2 companies send me 3 printers. Part of where all these printers came from, I did do plasma. I donated plasma. I get $500 a month from donating plasma, so I was able to buy some other printers. That got started. I think that's where that put us at about 7 printers at that time. After that, everything the business was making was going to buy more printers, more supplies, more printers, more filament, more everything, to put us right here where we're at for the end of 2024. So long story short, do I think that 3D printing is profitable? Yeah, I do. So would I recommend 3D printing as a side hustle? Ultimately, yes, but there's going to be a little bit of trial and error. Just because what I described worked for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you. I do think with Etsy, the more listings, the better. When it comes to craft fairs and markets, just know what you're getting into. Know that there's going to be a lot of competition with other 3D printers out there, but just do your best to make yourself unique. And if you do it right, like you saw with all of my spreadsheets and everything, you can make money. And I took the year to put a lot of money towards the business in terms of expenses, and I still made a profit. And that is awesome. You can go to anyone, and you know that making money in your first year of a business is kind of really hard, and we came out on top. Obviously, it was really rough, especially with Etsy, and then the markets were just like rough to just get used to how we did everything, but it's possible, and I think you should look at it and try to figure it out. Now, I went a million miles an hour. I bought a ton of printers. I bought a ton of stuff. If you don't have the means to do that, take your time. I promise you it will happen if you take your time. Get those listings up. Get those... If you take your time, get those listings up on Etsy, get everything going, make sure everything is aligned, and I promise it's going to work out. And if you guys have any comments that you want, leave them down below. Let's talk more about this. Let's get more conversations going. Let's figure out how to, make everybody profitable, because in my opinion, competition happens when you're at the bottom, but collaboration happens when you're at the top. I'm not at the top, but I want to be there, so I want to collaborate with everybody. Let's talk. Let's figure everything out. So anyways, don't forget to like and subscribe this video. Share it to who you think would love it. I'm basically Ben Ski, and mistakes make magic, baby.